So today we're doing some water pump maintenance. We had an intermittent drip, which we believe is coming from the shaft seals on the back side of the impeller housing. More recently, I've also noticed that there may be some oil mixed in with the water. Today we pulled the pump. There's 4 bolts here. This is the drive gear, and it looks like this is lubricated from the engine oil reservoir. So I'm assuming that oil is leaking through the shaft seals this way and water is leaking through this way. You can see that there's some gunk here, probably oily seawater, and there's some corrosion, evidence of seawater or something around the pump here. So we've got it off. The good news is that the engine side looks nice. The gearing, there's no evidence of wear on the teeth. The seal on this face looks good, and the gearing inside the engine housing, the drive gear that this mates to, looks good. So now we're going to pull the front cover plate off and expose the guts of this thing. This is a new engine. This engine is less than a year old. It's just over a year old, actually. It went into service in December last year, and the impeller housing was serviced at the required maintenance, I think around 300 hours or so. And so we've developed a leak relatively quickly before the next service interval.
So this looks like bent, or?
Yeah, so this rotates on the shaft and it moves the water through the tube. So they're designed to bend and kink as they rotate. That's how you get pumping force. So they're flexible. You're supposed to change these at regular intervals, because eventually the plastic breaks. It falls apart from all the flexing and stress, and the impellers can break out. And if you're unlucky, they can send bits of impeller through the raw water system, and then they go up into your heat exchanger and they get stuck and they melt. So you want to change them before that happens, which is why your engine has a recommended change interval. This is the first time I've opened up the water pump on this engine, and I'm surprised at how much distortion is designed into the impeller. These are crushed over. That's a lot of stress to put on the plastic.
Take it out.
So we're going to pull this out with our trusty adjustable pliers, which is funny because the manual, I have the Volvo shop manual, and for the impeller change, it says to remove the impeller with the impeller removal pliers. But when you look at the picture, these are the impeller removal pliers. It's literally just a pair of adjustable pliers, but for some reason they have a special name, and they probably cost extra in order to be a Volvo certified. You wouldn't necessarily have to pull the whole pump to do the impeller change, but since I know that I want to go into these seals, I figured I'm just going to pull the whole pump and work on the bench today. So what I am trying to be careful of is not to damage the pump housing with the pliers.
It's moving.
It's coming, yeah. Okay, so we can see that there's a decent amount of oil that started leaking into the water side of the pump. So our impeller actually looks to be in good shape. What we will do with this one is we will keep it as a spare, even though we have, I don't know how many kits I have, but we'll keep it as a spare because it's in pretty good shape. Yes, it's a paper. It's a paper gasket. It's not a rubber seal, rubber gasket. It's a papery gasket. Usually they stick and you have to destroy them and scrape them off. As I said, this is relatively new and it came off pretty easily, so I don't know if we'll save that. We might. These have spring seals in them. Could be this, but it doesn't quite match up. This part's a little bit thicker on top. You see? So it's stuck on this lip.
Yeah. Oh,
I
there you
gotta
go.
get it over the lip.
There you go.
So there's the front sealing ring. The next two parts are this O-ring and this plastic thing with the pins, which I see
It's like performing surgery.
yeah. So we're gonna tease this O-ring. Up.
This is number 2. Operation continues. I can hold this.
I need to be able to feel it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Number 3.
So now the hard part, the rear seal. So the front seal is face up. The rear seal, it looks like, is face down. So the rear seal holds the oil and the front seal holds the seawater. So this one was stacked like this, and then on top of that you had this plastic spacer with another small O-ring. Not entirely sure what the purpose of that O-ring is. Then you have this one, which was stacked in the other orientation. So the springs are on the wet sides. So this assembly is what sits here, and in the space there is what this plastic spacer holds, so it sits right here. So we had oil and seawater leaking, which tells me both these seals were bad, but I don't see any
Visual.
there's no visible evidence that there's something wrong with either of these seals. So I'm going to see if I can examine the shaft and the housing to see if there's any damage or, you know, any issues with those. The bearings seem nice. There's no wobble, almost no wobble in the shaft. And it looks like we're not taking the shaft out today, which is good. Back on.
So you cleaned it?
We managed to dig out the bottom one. I don't know if we told you that.
Yep.
We did some cleaning with our 600 grit sand, wet sand. Now I'm going to do a final water wipe to try to get any grit out of there, and then we'll reassemble it and put it back together. Here's our cleaned piece. We're going to wipe it with some wet paper towel to try to clean out any sanding debris before we reassemble it.
Looks shiny.
It looks pretty good. This is my wrong size seal, my genuine Volvo part. I don't think that's gonna fit in there. Thank you very much. We're gonna come over to our other part. Which one we want? And we're gonna use one of these.
Is this one goes up, no, the other way?
Yes, you're right, it goes this way.
Because that's how we grabbed it.
Yeah.
We can confirm with the list.
There it is. Test it now, right? We're leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Test.
also want hot water so I can shower tonight.
Well, it looks like there's no drip so far. We just tested it a little bit, and next time we will be going out, we'll check it more, and hopefully there will be no more leaks.
Pumps water.
It pumps water.
That's good. We didn't break.
That
we didn't
works.
Make it worse. Still pumps
In
water.
an effort to fix it, we didn't make it worse.
At least not yet. So this is our post-run 15 minutes or so. Here's our pump. Our pump is nice and dry. We have no new water dripping down where it used to be dripping over here. This is our little bit of oil stain from when we took the pump out. Let me see if I can get this aligned properly. There's the pump. So it used to leak out of the gap here from the water side and from the oil side more recently. So this is nice and dry right now. There's nothing on the hoses. The hose clamps are sealed, the cover plate looks sealed, everything looks as it should. So we'll give it a little bit of a longer test tomorrow when we move.
Oh, I see it swimming over there. See it?
Oh, there
Oh,
it is.
yeah.
That's a good size.
That's a big turtle. The wind picked up right when we were approaching the cut, and our boat started to get twisted and crab. There are rocks over there in the stern. Yeah. Good here. All right, we're good here.
What's my distance?
5.
5.
You okay? Yes.
And we're out.
But you were going sideways, and you could, with your stern, you could have touched the rocks
Yeah.
on the other side. So
But
you got to be careful.
It was, the wind is twisting us a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was trying to keep us straight so that I
Yeah.
can go in the right direction. Because it's hard to crab sideways. It's
No.
hard to make forward progress.
Yeah. The rest of the trip was smooth and uneventful. Even the cat was quite relaxed. We were finally approaching the current cut, which is notorious for strong currents. Yeah. We planned our time very well to arrive at slack tide, so our transit went super smooth, unlike the morning one. Once anchored, it was time to check on our engine.
Alright, so yesterday we did our water pump seal replacement and we did our quick test. We moved today and we had a little bit more runtime on the engines between leaving and anchoring. So probably about 2 to 3 hours, I think, engine runtime. So let's see how we did.
and we look nice and dry. Under here, no drips in the cover plate. We did decide to reuse the impeller and the gasket, which I wouldn't normally do, but this impeller is due in about 70 hours, so we decided to put it back, and we'll change it with the other engine. If these seals didn't fix our problem, I'd have to open this up again anyway, and so that motivated me to not put a new set of gasket and impeller in there. The one that was in there was in good shape. So we've got no new drips today. That's good. And so now we'll give the engine compartment a nice clean, and that'll be that.